The sun rose slowly over the red cliffs of the Arizona desert, spilling golden light across the Apache Valley. Dust shimmered in the air, carrying with it the scent of dry sage and the sound of distant drums echoing from the heart of the settlement. The morning was still, save for the murmurs of the tribe gathering near the council grounds, a place where justice was spoken and fates were sealed. Tied to a wooden post in the center stood a man, a cowboy, worn by the road, his shirt torn, his hands bound behind him. His name was Cole Tanner, and though his jaw was set and his blue eyes burned with defiance, his fate rested in hands not his own. Cole had ridden into Apache territory the day before, chasing a wounded horse and a rumor. He hadn't meant to trespass, but sometimes fate had a cruel way of steering a man where he didn't belong. The night before, the Apaches had found him near the sacred spring, his revolver drawn, his horse bleeding from a fresh bullet wound. To them he was another white trespasser, another outlaw with bad intentions. Now under the bright desert sky, the tribe stood around him silent and watchful, waiting for their chief to speak. Chief Gray Wolf stood tall before the council fire, his long gray hair flowing over his shoulders like river stone. His face carried the lines of many seasons, his eyes deep and unreadable. When he raised his hand, the murmurs fell silent. "This man," he began in a deep, resonant voice, "entered our land with a weapon in his hand and blood on his horse. The spirits saw him at the spring, the sacred heart of our people. He is no friend. He is no guest. He is a threat." Cole straightened, his breath steady. "I wasn't here to harm anyone," he said, his voice rough but calm. "My horse was shot by bandits. I came here looking for water and shelter. That's all." The crowd shifted uneasily, but the chief's face didn't change. "The white man's words are soft," said Gray Wolf, "but his hands are stained with the blood of our people." Cole's voice grew heavy. "I've done things I ain't proud of," he said quietly, "but I've never killed an Apache." And then, from the edge of the crowd, a woman's voice broke through the silence, and calm, steady, and fearless. "Let him speak," she said. Every eye turned. It was the chief's daughter, Naya. She stepped forward, her long black hair glinting in the sunlight, her eyes fierce yet compassionate. Naya was known among her people as the one who listened to the wind, a healer and a dreamer. "Father," she said, her tone respectful but firm, "the spirits speak in signs, not in fear. If this man is guilty, the truth will show. But if he speaks truth and we silence him, then we dishonor the spirits." Gray Wolf studied her, the fire in his eyes flickering for a moment. "You would defend a trespasser?" "I would defend justice," she answered. Her words cut through the crowd like lightning, sharp, bright, unforgettable. The chief gave his judgment. Cole would be held overnight, and at dawn, the spirits, through Naya's witness, would decide his fate. As night fell, Cole sat bound near the edge of camp, staring at the stars. When he heard footsteps approach, he turned to see Naya carrying a clay bowl of water. Without a word, she knelt and began to clean the blood from his wrists. "Why are you helping me?" he asked quietly. "Because truth hides in silence," she said softly. "You are not like the others who came here. Your eyes, they do not lie." He smiled faintly. "You're the first to say that." She finished tying the cloth around his wrist, her eyes soft but steady. "Sleep if you can," she whispered. "Tomorrow everything may change." And with that she disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, the sun rose like fire across the valley. The tribe gathered again, warriors, elders, women,
children, all waiting for judgment.
Cole stood before them, hands bound, his heart beating with the steady rhythm of the war drums. Gray Wolf's deep voice carried over the crowd. "Today we judge the trespasser. If he lies, the spirits will know." Cole spoke clearly. "I was hunted by bandits, bounty men from the border. They thought I was an outlaw who robbed the El Paso mail coach. My horse was shot and I ran here. I didn't know this land was yours." The chief frowned. "Why should we believe you?" Cole lifted his head. "If I came to harm you, I'd have brought men and guns. I came with nothing but a dying horse." Before Gray Wolf could respond, Naya stepped forward again. "He could have fled last night," she said. "The ropes were frayed, but he stayed. A guilty man runs. An innocent man stands," the people murmured. One warrior, tall elk, sneered. "Words are easy. Blood is truth." He pressed a knife to Cole's arm. Before judgment could fall, a shout came from the horizon. A young scout rode in, breathless. "Bandits!" he cried. 5 white riders, rifles drawn, near the sacred spring. Grey Wolf turned sharply. 5 with red scarves? The scout nodded. They follow this man's trail. Cole's eyes widened. Those are them, the men who shot my horse. In moments, the tribe sprang into motion. Warriors armed themselves. Women gathered children. Naya looked at Cole, still tied. Can you fight? She asked. Untie me, he said, and I'll show you. Without hesitation, she cut his ropes. Grey Wolf's eyes burned with fury, but Naya stood her ground. You asked for truth, she said. The spirits just brought it. Moments later, the bandits rode into view. 5 men. Dust swirling around them, rifles blazing. The Apache warriors took cover and returned fire with arrows and spears. Cole dove for a fallen rifle, his instincts sharp. He fired once, 1 bandit fell. Another shot, a second dropped. The battle raged across the valley. Naya fought beside her people, her bow swift and true. When 1 bandit aimed at her, Cole's rifle cracked, again saving her life. Smoke and dust filled the air until the last bandit tried to flee. Cole caught him and dragged him from his horse. Why were you chasing me? He demanded. The dying man spat blood. The gold. We thought you still had it. And then he was gone. Silence filled the valley once more. The tribe stood victorious, breathing hard beneath the blazing sun. Grey Wolf approached, the staff of judgment in his hand. You spoke truth, he said. Cole nodded slowly. Told you so. The chief turned to his daughter, and for the first time, pride softened his face. It seems the spirits chose wisely. Naya stepped forward, dust streaking her face, her eyes shining. You saved our people, she said softly. Cole smiled faintly. Guess I owed you for believing in me. She hesitated, then spoke the 4 words that silenced the valley and changed everything. You are one of us. The tribe murmured. Even the chief bowed his head. The white man who came in chains, Grey Wolf said solemnly, leaves his brother. The drums began again, not for judgment but for unity. Cole Tanner, once a stranger and now stood among the Apache, bound not by blood but by honor and courage. As the sun sank over the red cliffs, Naya looked at him and smiled. For the first time in a long while, he smiled back. And somewhere in that desert wind, 2 souls, once divided by fear, found peace. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll away just yet. Subscribe to our channel for more emotional, powerful Western tales, stories of courage, redemption, and unexpected love that you won't find anywhere else. Hit that like button, share it with a friend who loves storytelling, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss what happens next on our frontier of stories.